further continue our session on the coastal resilience, we have Dr. Shankar Panda. He will be presenting to us on blue economy opportunities for climate change. Dr. Shankar Panda is a scientist E from the National Center for Coastal Research since 2017. He has around 20 years of experience and he works on coastal geomorphology and shoreline changes studies, impact assessment of marine outfalls and dispersion, modeling estuaries and coastal waters, nearshore hydrodynamics and sedimentation transport studies. He is an expert in the collection and utilization of field data on shoreline, beach profile and littoral environmental observations. He also does works on bathymetry study and sediments. We welcome you, sir, to make your presentation on blue economy. Thank you.
So I will try to touch upon the blue economy, why it is so important at the present era. So what are the emerging sectors and opportunities, and what are the technological demonstrations that is made to address these blue economical things, especially in the era of climate change. Means whenever there is climate change is there, what technologies are there. Okay. So what are the demonstrations, technological demonstrations that we will discuss. Then what are the environmental sustainable concerns that we have to adapt when we are going for development, and also in view of the climate change. So what are the Indian initiatives for this blue growth, and what are the governance framework that I will touch upon. So this is all about the sustainability of both economics, social aspects and environment. Next. So by definition, if you go, that World Bank has defined that blue economy is a sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihood, employment, while preserving the health of marine and coastal environment. So this was it was started by Professor Gunter Pyle during 1994. Then in 2012 there was a UN conference where this idea of blue economy was adopted, and later on it was adopted in many sectors, especially with the developments and employment and protection of the coastal environment. So when we speak of the this blue economy, there are many elements are coming into force, especially where we are getting the economy, how it is affecting the social life, what are the consequences of climate change which is affecting, and due to climate change how we can develop the resilient developmental structures and environment. Next. So when we are going for this developmental, as we know that this is an economical development keeping in view of the environmental protections. So there is a first international framework was made which is covering all aspects, all the dimension of livelihood. Nearly 17 goals are there by SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goal, that is UN Agenda 2030. So it gives us a guideline, or it gives us the benchmark that we have to follow, such that we can make our developments which will not affect the environment. So these SDGs always keeps in track of economic growth, social inclusion and environmental sustainability. And here in this framework there was a particular goal was there, that is goal number 14, which is directly refer to the life below water, especially the ocean environment. So when we go for blue economy, we should understand why it is so important. So blue economy deals with the coastal and ocean environment. So ocean is very, very important, because we know that nearly 70% of Earth's surface covered by water and by ocean, and it regulates our climate, oxygen, and sequestration of carbon dioxide, and it gives its the economy is very high. It is of the order of nearly 2.5 trillion per year. So we can see the volume and gravity of the goods and services that we are getting from this ocean. And it almost the transportation, nearly 80% of transportation by volume and 70% by value, it is through oceans. And both ecologically and economically, it is very, very important. Either we can say fishery, recreation, transportations, climate, minerals, oils, whatever we are getting. So ocean is very important. And this is just the same kind of statistics. It shows that nearly $2,500 billion in 2018 alone we have the economic from the ocean side. So in different sectors it has major components from fisheries to other sectors. So when we speak only about the economic side of this side, then we see the total assets of oceans now in the present value, it is almost around $24 trillion. It's not a small value, so we can imagine how voluminous it is, how massive it is. So we have to do our developments. In sideline also we have to protect it. So there are projected growth of nearly $1.5 trillion per year. It is there. And it gives, in 2010, it gives nearly 31 million direct jobs, and it is projected that by 2010 to 2030, nearly 45 million jobs will be there. And it has it was by a high-level panel of sustainable ocean economy. They have done a job and found that the return of investment will be around 400 to 600%. So if we invest a $1 for a mangrove ecosystem or coral ecosystems or whatever, means the direct return will be around $3 to $4. So we can see that it is the growth rate of the ocean economy. So it is not like that, means when we speak of this growth, at that time it is also getting affected by many challenges, many activities which is degrading this. So especially the population is one of the major concern, because nearly half of the world populations are living or directly dependent on the coastal regions. So the population density itself is producing many other factors like pollutions, transportation, or whatever the consequences are there. And next is over exploitation of the resources, either fishery, oil or gas, whatever the over exploitation. This is another challenge for the ocean economy to be maintained. And the anthropogenic disturbances, pollutions. Then due to this kind of activities, also due to the climate change, the critical habitats are very much in danger. And it is predicted that by 1950s, 90% of these critical habitats will be almost in a very danger condition, or it may go for extinction. So these kind of challenges are facing by ocean economy, which has to be addressed when we think of a sustainable blue economy. When we come to India, India is having nearly 7,500 kilometer coastline, having very pristine, fragile ecosystems, which gives both of ecological and economical very much return to the society, to the livelihood. So if you see from mangrove ecosystems to sand barriers, for the turtle nesting beaches, lagoonal environments, and so these kind of ecosystems are there, which is prone to this climate change and also prone to the developments. So whenever we are thinking of this economy, development of this blue economy, we should think of protection of these systems. So that's what Indian coastline is having this, but it is facing a lot of challenges in terms of pollution, in terms of overfishing, and in terms of the fast growing developmental activities along the coast. So sustain and provide source of livelihood to it gives livelihood to nearly 250 million people. So having know about these issues and problems that is along the coast or in the oceans that we are facing, then we have the challenges that we understand, So this blue economy provides us a suite of opportunities for sustainable, clean, equitable blue growth, both in traditional and emerging sectors. So this shows some of the established and traditional industries like marine fisheries, means the traditional capture fisheries, shipping, oil and gas, hydrocarbons, that whatever we are producing, and dredging activities. These are established, but these things, these industries need to be modernized such that we can have a better optimized industrial involvement and industrial growth. And the new emerging sectors that is coming up along these areas under this blue economy strategy, that is like a different type of fishery, advanced fisheries like cage culture or whatever kind of things. Then lot of data are available so that we can apply advanced technologies like artificial intelligence or data mining such that we can have an optimized form of resource management. And biotechnology, medicines, pharmaceutical things that we are getting from these ocean things. So these are emerging sectors, and which gives a ocean of opportunities, ample opportunities for future perspectives. So this is just like these are nearly 6 pillars of this ocean means blue economy, which gives rise to different sectors of development along the coast. So I will try to touch upon this these basic requirements, that is the primary resources that we need are water, food and energy. The secondary are like transport, minerals, non-living elements, all these things, and the impediments like climate change and other things. So when we think of, I will try to touch upon each category such that what are the possible interventions that we can do, what are the possible strategies to be maintained for this blue growth. So when we think of water, as you know, water is, the drinking water sources are very limited, and day by day we are feeling the water scarcity. And it is estimated that nearly 1/6 of world populations are facing this water scarcity. So there was a demand for Indian case, if you see the water demand of nearly 6,000 MLD per day was there, that is million liter per day, but 26 it was like 23,000 million liter per day. We can see the growth of water demand. So many large-scale desalination units are being established in this country. That is the only option that we can go for that. So there are different type of technologies are available for this demand to meet, like desalination method, like distillations, membrane, like reverse osmosis or whatever, hybrid systems and LTT technology. So here we have to optimally, or here we have to find out which is the best suited technology that has to be implemented such that we will meet our demand as well as we have to protect our ecosystems. So LTT, which is developed by NIOT, and it has been commissioned in many places. So this is the most environmental friendly, which gives very less brine water to the systems, and the adjacent coastal ecosystem doesn't get much hamper on this. So this has been implemented because islanders are not getting the drinking water. So first it was established in the Lakshadweep Islands. It was earlier it was established at Kavaratti and Agatti, where almost 1 lakh liter per day is produced and it is given to the people. So this is one of the solutions for this water demand. And when we talk of this blue economy, this is one of the best solutions that we are making to meet the demands. So other means there are other LTT plants are going to be commissioned in 6 islands. So another action to be taken here is this creating a freshwater reservoir. This is one of the mega projects that India is going to implement, This is making a Kalpasa dike project. NCCR is preparing the detailed project report for this. So here it is going to make a 30-kilometer long sea dike such that the freshwater can be reserved, and it can be provided for drinking purpose. It can use for irrigation purpose. It can irrigate almost nearly 10 lakh hectare, because Saurashtra region is now going to be a dry land. They are facing severe water scarcity. And in addition to that, there are other benefits also we can obtain, like we can use the renewable energy for this, because this area is prone to the renewable energy, especially wind and solar energy. And and also it can give other impacts like development of biodiversity and fishery resources. So this is what it will give: freshwater, irrigation, transport, increase in biodiversity and fishery, renewable energy. It will improve the tourism sector of this area, and it will also give rise industrial developments and land availability, because of this tidal height that is restricted by this. After water, the next primary requirement is food. So food is very important, and it is seen that global total fish catcheries was nearly 90 million tons in 2016, and it is projected that it will go up to a demand of 200 million tons by 2030. So we can understand that how it is important, because it is important to have the food security, poverty alleviations, and huge potential for business opportunities. So whatever the proteins that we are getting, nearly 30 to 40% of the proteins we are getting from these fishery resources. So this is an important area that has to be focused. And when we talk about the blue growth, then fishery is one of the important regions. So different type of advanced technologies are available, like open cage culture. Even nearly 6-meter dia cage can hold a fish amount of nearly 750 kilograms of fish, and mud crab culture, mariculture. There are different technologies which is addressing the sustainable development goals of like 2 and 14, which gives food security as well as the life under sea. And this also gives an ample opportunity for employment and job creations. And of course, biotechnology. So means whether we are getting fuel from the bioresources or the medicines that we are getting from these things. So biotechnology is another area of opportunity which changing the climate scenario, and it gives an ample opportunity of very important. When we are talking of this kind of ecosystem protection, ecosystem development, then we should have a better understanding of the services that we are getting from this ecosystem, such that can be properly quantifiable, and accordingly the mitigation measures or restoration measures can be taken. So when we are talking of this ecosystem based services, those can be categorized under provisional services, regulating services, and supporting services, and cultural services, such that a better assessment of the ecosystem can be made. So whenever there is any impact on the ecosystem, those impact drivers can be assessed properly, and the necessary mitigation measures can be taken off. So after this water and food, next primary resource requirement is the energy. So mostly when we think of energy, we have to think of the renewable energy, because whatever the fossil fuels or whatever non-renewable energies are limited, they are getting less day by day. So it is estimated that the population by 2050 will be 9 billions. And it will require the 1.5 times of the energy requirements from day. So keeping those things in mind, we should focus to those areas where the energy demands can be fulfilled, and it is the only source is this renewable energy. So renewable energy means blue energy. When we talk related to oceans, we can think of the wind, wave, and tidal power, thermal energy, and biomass sources, whatever energy that we can get. So there are some technological demonstrations are being made for obtaining this kind of energy. One is this ocean thermal energy conversion, where we are getting the low temperature water from the deep sea, and that can be used with different technologies that can be converted into the energy. And this from wave power also there is a BVDB system, that is backward back duct systems. It is under R&D process by NIT right now, and it has been demonstrated some developed countries, Japan and Germany has made it on a pilot basis. So wave energy also is one of the renewable energy. Of course, wind energy is, if you see in Indian context, nearly 100 gigawatt potential is there for wind energy. And tide energy, especially where the tidal amplitudes are high in the either the northern side of west coast, Gulf of Kambad, and those areas where the tidal amplitude goes beyond 10 or 11 meter, and Sundarban areas where the tidal range goes more than 5 to 6 meter. So those areas are having a large tidal energy potentiality is there, which can be converted. So for wind energy, this Tamil Nadu and Kanyakumari, Rameswaram, Kanyakumari region, and Gulf of Kambad and Kutch region in Gujarat are with wind resources. So it has a potential of nearly 36 gigawatt for Gujarat, and for Tamil Nadu 25 gigawatt it is there. So if we can achieve these things, which will which will account nearly 25% by wind alone. So next secondary resources that what we need and what has to be focused under this blue economy is the minerals, that is non-living resources. So if you see in the ocean side, apart from the oil and gas, certain minerals are there which is very important and very optimized for the energy conversion, especially like polymetallic manganese nodules, phosphorites, and some metals like cobalt, sulfides, all these are. And there are ample resources are available in the Indian Ocean area, especially the Central Indian Ocean and the RTJ junction area, where India has also got permission to extract. So there is a demand of, there is a steep growth of this oil and gas is there, which we are importing mostly, and but still we do not when it is it will not be available for us. So we should try to get the technologies where we can get these kind of things from the ocean side. So there are technologies now, it is under testing and under process for the seabed mining. So autonomous coring system, it is being developed by NIOT, and it has been tested in certain depths. So that is there. So when we talk of this gas hydrate, which is this coring systems are used to get those things. When we talk about this gas hydrates, India has more than 970 trillion cubic meter methane stored in the form of gas hydrates. So if at least 10% also we can get it, then it can meet our energy demands for 1 century. So you can understand the massive energy store which has to be explored, which has to be for which proper technology is required. Because below 1000 meter or below 2000 meter, anything extraction is a very much challenge. So these are some of the technological developments that has been being made by different technological institutions, especially the National Institute of Ocean Technology. This is the left corner is the ROV, then that is the coring system, and this is another underwater crawler. So these kind of technologies are being developed. So this can support the blue growth in real sense. Then next is the transportation, because ocean supports the major transport component of entire transports. So 80% of the total global trade by volume, it is supported by the ocean transport, and 70% by volume. So there is an annual growth of 4% annual growth is there. So keeping these things in mind, we should optimize these transport sectors such that there will be no hindrance and we will get an right kind of transport. Again, this is what the Indian statistics. So this is about major ports and minor ports. What is nearly 12 major ports and 187 minor ports are available in India. So this kind of transport system which is available in India has to be enhanced. There are certain projects, certain initiatives taken by India. I will speak about this Sagarmala or deep sea ocean projects. So this is what we talk about, the resources that we are getting from the ocean side and which has to be optimized in terms of advanced technologies and in terms of blue initiative. And so, but there are many other things which is affecting these things. That is one of the pollution, that is coastal pollution or land-based pollutions which is affecting. There are different kind of pollutions. It is land-based, means nutrient pollutions, or thermal pollution, or marine plastic and marine litters. So this also addresses the sustainable development goals, comes under 3, 6, 11, 12, 14 and 15. So the protection measures and conservation of the environment is adhered to this kind of SDG goals. So we can achieve this by programs recently we have implemented, like coastal clean service or Tatya Swachha Seva, where there is a monitoring of the entire coast is there. Madam was showing about the monitoring of the coastline or shoreline. Like this, we are monitoring the water quality for the entire coast. Nearly 24 locations we are monitoring all along the coast, and we are assessing what are the land-based pollutions that is affecting the coast and coastal waters. What are the ecosystem processes happening in the coast which is affecting, like which is giving degraded water systems like coastal blooms, hypoxia, those kind of things. So those things are being made, and this monitoring also being now made time series with automated sensor-based monitoring systems. This is a buoy that we have deployed off Chennai coast, and last year we have deployed a buoy off Puducherry, which is giving every 20 minutes data we are getting of the important parameters which goes into the model, and we are developing a coastal water quality forecast systems. Now it is operational for Chennai coastal waters. Now we are trying to improve or expand this water quality forecast systems to other coastal locations, especially the city locations where this water quality warning or forecast is highly required. So, and of course this marine litter is one of the thrust area of discussion nowadays, because nearly 8 million tons of marine plastic goes to sea, and it is projected that there may be more plastics than fish by 2030. So there is a citizen science approach is there, where we are bringing all these universities, local organizations, authorities, state governments, and we are trying to make the coastal clean services such that we can have both awareness and we will have the information and data such that we can take the appropriate remedial measures. And there is another program which is going up, the restoration of coral reefs. It is in Gulf of Mannar. You can see the coral growths that is being made by different by these efforts. So worldwide, if we see, there is a degradation is there. So this kind of efforts will help us to restore our coral ecosystems, which is very much important for carbon sequestrations as well as maintaining the fishery resources in and around that area. So I think Madam has already covered about these coastal hazards. I will just skip. Just Madam has already told about this coastal erosion and how this coastal erosion has been addressed. If you see for the Pondicherry coast alone, this is the status in 19th century, but after opening up, before construction of the harbour it was like this, after construction it become, entire coast is seawall. So we can see what are the hotspot of erosions are there. So there was a proper scientific study and numerical study was there. So like a nearshore wave transportation by reef was the appropriate solution that was implemented. So a steel caisson of 60 meter long, 50 meter wide with 2.5 meter width was implemented, which cost is around 900 tons. So you can see the commissioning process that is in front of the Secretariat of the Puducherry. So after that we can see there is a development, a significant development of this beach. This is before construction and after construction. And not only that, we can see both side, both means south and north side also. It is because generally whenever there is a construction, one side it is accretion, other side it is erosion. But here we have a optimized form of coastal restoration measure. So this is another example of slight north of this, that is Kadlur Periakupam. Here a option of submerged growing was made, and it has you can see this before condition and after conditions, what is the solutions that we have provided. So to address these kind of issues, India has taken many initiatives, many programs are implemented for this blue economy aspects, like the project of Sagarmala project, which is mostly customer driven project, which focus on the development of the port-led developments and the improvement of the ports. And O-Smart, that is by MOES, where we are getting the ocean services, especially modeling and forecast systems. Deep ocean missions, I'll talk about those. Integrated coastal zone management, which restrict the unauthorized development in the coast such that it can protect the environment. Marine spatial planning, national fishery policies, all these kind of initiatives are in ground right now. So this is like Sagarmala project, which connects the ports and which connects the ports by better connectivity, and it also aims to develop the modernize the ports, bringing deep water ports, having facilities like dry docking and other kind of things. Then it gives a healthy, resilient and productive marine environment also for ocean governance and capacity building. So another initiative that is recently implemented, that is Deep Ocean Mission, which is a technological innovations for exploration and conservation of the deep sea resources. It has 6 verticals, very identified verticals, where development of technology for deep sea mining and submersible and robotics are there, which is now being carried out by NIOT. Then the development of ocean climate change advisory services, that is by our sister organization INCOIS is carrying out. Then technological innovations for exploration and conservation of deep sea biodiversity and bioresources, deep sea survey and explorations, and means energy point of view, OTEC and desalination plants. So these are some of the initiatives that is being implemented under this Deep Ocean Mission. So if this is going to be happen, then India will be first country to demonstrate deep sea mining technology beyond 5,000 meter, and it will join the club of 5 nations for main submersible for the ocean exploration. Then when we talk of all these things, having knowledge of all the informations, the developmental activities and the environments that is in place in these coastal regions, then this marine spatial planning is coming, where there is an appropriate allocation of these developmental activities as well as the protection of the environment has to be addressed. So if we see about the policies and procedures, what is adopted, land side we have a clear defined policies are there, which is either by state or central government or by municipality agencies, and coast it is by ICZM planning. But when we are going beyond 20 nautical miles, whatever the resources management is there, there is no planning. So this is just like allocation of the spatial spaces for different different activities. So this is what. So now coming to this governance, blue economy governance framework, it can be stated from the national level to regional level and international law and framework, which really gives a restriction for the unauthorized development. Also in time, it is also gives a guideline for the appropriate conservation and protection of the environment. So national level we have defined. This is very nutshell. There are a lot more policies are there. Just it is giving a simple just highlights of that. Either it is Environmental Protection Act or Biodiversity Act or National Action Plan on Climate. These are the relevant policies which is helpful. And in regional levels, there are many organizations like Indian Ocean Rim Association, then Indian Ocean Commissions, then SASEP, Bay of Bengal Intergovernmental Organizations, ASEAN. These are the regional institutional setups which is also regulating these laws, and they are also taking the policy decisions in cooperation of these member countries and organizations. And there are very defined international laws and frameworks are there, which is very important for this kind of development for growth of blue economy. So how we can go? So moving forward, we should have innovative technologies, new products and services to be implemented, and we have to develop the green infrastructures and processes for reshaping this traditional ocean economy to a sustainable blue economy, and that can be achieved by achieving these blue economic goals would require very extensive cooperation between all the stakeholders, and it will give us economic growth, job opportunities, meeting the requirements like food, water, energy demands, and it will also help us to develop climate resilient structures and sustainability of the infrastructures. So I can conclude that this blue economy, when we are thinking of, we should think of investment in nature-based climate solutions, and we have to harness the renewable energy potentials along the coast or wherever it is available, such that it will meet the own energy demands. And one of the major culprit for this climate change is the greenhouse gases. So those greenhouse gases has to be restricted, or whenever we are talking of this carbon neutrality or these kind of things, then we have to give importance to those areas where the carbon sequestrations are significant, especially the critical habitats, coral ecosystems or mangrove ecosystem, where the sequestration rate is very. So we have to work towards this decarbonizing of these areas, such that these ocean industry, especially mangroves or corals, has to be emphasized. Then we have to secure our food, especially this aquaculture. When we talk of, we have to come with advanced technologies of aquaculture, such that we will have a better fishery resources. Then that is carbon capture, and more importantly, we should expand our observation network, because without data, without the information, whatever studies we do, it will be incomplete. So these informations or data observation has to be expanded. That will give input to give input for us for any blue growth initiatives. That's what. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The time when India is adopting this deep ocean mission, it's really important that we come to know about blue economy and economizing the ocean resources, because the mission is all about sustainable use of ocean resources. Any questions from the participants?
That is your presentation is very informative, interesting. Probably the research scholars should ask a lot of questions in spite of the faculty members. Okay. Sir, you mentioned a very important data, that is, in 2030, the fish production is going to increase by 201 million tons. Oh, that's what I read from the slide.
Not fish production. The
Fish capture. Fish capture.
Fish demand will be this.
Okay, okay. That's
Now
right.
it is by 90 million tons
Right.
by 2016. By 2030, the fish demand will be nearly 206 million tons or something.
Okay, right. If that is the case, do we facilitate the fishermen to capture more fishes? Because there are days where the fishermen go and return without fishes. What are the guidelines which are being implemented right now for the fishermen to capture the fishes? Like they are being guided by the GPS data or GIS data to identify the spot where they can capture the fish and come. So what is the status right now, and how you are going to facilitate further in the days to come? Okay.
This is very good question. Yes, that is.
Actually, before that, sir, before that, I read this data, which is released by Honorable Prime Minister of India in the recent time. In fact, it was set as 2 lakhs million tons of the capture of the fishes. That's why I got the data. I thought that I have to ask and clarify with you. Please, sir.
There is a program by Minister of Earth Sciences, that is PFZ, Potential Fishing Zone, which identified the potential areas of fish availability.
Okay.
So it is based upon the satellite information and the thermal fonts, that is both from satellite point of view and numerical modeling, such that the locations along with the coordinates are being identified and it is disseminated. So I think most of the fish landing centers are coming with a Facebook where this information are posted. Also nearly, I think, almost 4 lakh fishermen are given these informations periodically, such that they can go to that particular site and they can capture the fish. So this is one initiative.
Okay.
And the second initiative, that to meet this growing demand, what are the advanced technologies? Like this one advanced technology is the cage culture system. That cage culture system has to be implemented it has to be scaled up. Now it is in a very pilot basis, that has to be scaled up. In many developed countries, this cage culture has been adopted and they are getting a very good fish resources. And other like mariculture, and there are different technologies. Besides that also, now whatever informations we are having, for example, the water quality data, which is very conducive for the fish growth and
correct.
reproduction, those kind of things. So once we take those things, those data, we have now technology. That's what I am telling about the advanced technology, that big data system or a data mining system that will identify that which area, what kind of fish can grow, the potential regions. So these are some of the areas where under this blue economy can be adapted for this requirement.
I am particularly asking this because probably this would be a good guidance and implementation for Puducherry coastal region for the fishermen to identify the potential grounds for the fishes. In fact, some of our research scholars are working by integrating the GIS data and with the GPS system, and of course this is only, they are making the model indigenously. Suppose this is implemented somewhere and you have the data, please kindly share with us, sir.
Yeah.
That's Tamil Nadu I have referred. But
I will also mention here, because here Dr. Praveenji is there. So for Puducherry, there was a proposal of sinking one outdated obsolete ship, such that once they will go, that will be a habitat ground for these fishery resources. That will increase the tourism, underwater tourism or whatever, and it will also increase the fish. So there was a proposal, we have submitted, just morning only I discussed with him, that we have submitted a DPR, detailed report for that. I don't know how far that has been implemented.
Any possibility for underground aquarium? Probably.
That's what I think, Praviji, you can answer about the underwater aquarium, that he has worked a lot for this.
Yes. No, that I am hearing this from 2005. That's why, because in 2005 there was some thought that they have to go for a underground aquarium system.
No, there was a abandoned naval ship was there, which has to be sunk. For that, off Puducherry it was decided. So we went to that particular location. We have taken all kind of reconnaissance survey and the possibilities and the further developments that can be done from there.
Okay, right.
You see, whatever carbon dioxide or the carbon equivalent greenhouse gases like methane or nitrous oxide or whatever things we are emitting, they are huge. If you see, just recently, yesterday only I was analyzing for Pulicat, which is capturing, so before that I'll tell, there is a process called carbon sequestrations. Means our plants, they capture the atmospheric carbon, they convert it to biomass. So whatever fuel and other things, there is carbon rich things. So it is just a carbon sequestrations that atmospheric gas, carbon dioxide is converted to the biomass. This is one process. So in this way, this carbon dioxide is converted to the blue carbon. Right. So what are the so that photosynthesis, it takes carbon dioxide from this, then water, and it produces oxygen and the other materials, that is other materials. So that way only we are getting the carbon sequestration process. So what are the, which areas are more carbon sequestration potential areas? Mangroves are very much potential for carbon sequestrations. Even coral regions are also very much prone for the carbon sequestrations. So these coastal regions which is sequestering the carbon. So this conversion from atmospheric carbon to the biomass, that is biomass is form of blue carbon.